J Mart, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My man J Mart writes, Lou, what's good? How do you feel about the Giants this year? They've made some good moves. I rank free agency, Giants, Washington, Dallas, and Philadelphia. Thoughts? More moves? I have the exact same ranking that you do. I thought the Giants were outstanding in free agency. Look, we kill Dave Gettleman all the time for being a lousy general manager. He's not good in the draft, if you ask me. But I can tell you this much. He's put the Giants over the last 3 years or so. He's put the Giants in, it feels like everything he's done over the last 3 years culminates in this season right here that's about to come up. Because if Daniel Jones stinks this year, then really he probably deserves to be fired, because it's the same thing the Bears did with Mitchell Trubisky. Now, they didn't trade up to draft Daniel Jones like the Bears did with Trubisky and give up draft capital in the future to do it. But they drafted Daniel Jones at number 6, I believe, when nobody else thought he was worthy of a top 15 pick. So that one was hard to stomach for Giants fans. And I feel like, the infrastructure of the roster has really been built well. When you look at their secondary, I thought the trading of Odell Beckham Jr., shame on you if you step to the old dirty Beckham. When you look at that and you couple that with what they got back, even though Kevin Zeitler is no longer there anymore, but you look at everything that they've been able to do between getting Jabril Peppers, who I think is a stud. I've been really impressed. I wasn't the biggest Jabril Peppers fan when he was drafted out of Michigan, but he's been an animal for them. The trading for Leonard Williams, then the subsequent franchise tag, then the second franchise tag, then ultimately getting the long-term deal done, so that trade doesn't go in vain now. And he's coming off the best season of his career. This defense played really well last year at times. And so you look at this secondary now, you go last year, I thought the best free agent acquisition for me of any team in the league, anywhere other than Tom Brady. Take Tom Brady out of the equation going to Tampa Bay. The best free agent acquisition was the Giants getting cornerback from the Panthers. Oh, shit. Damn it. From Samford. I can't even remember his damn name. But you guys know who the hell I'm talking about. Let me go down in the comment section because I know one of y'all gonna type it real quick. But them getting him, then getting Jabril Peppers, and then they drafted Julian Love out of Notre Dame. They drafted Xavier McKinney. I thought that was a steal in the second round. He really didn't play last year. Then you go this year, and they went and got Logan Ryan right before the season started as well. He was a huge James Bradbury. Thank you guys out there for that. James Bradbury. I knew somebody would type it in there for me. Thank you to Christian Miller 22 and Bob Esther. And then to complete the cipher now, they go out and they get Adoree Jackson. He's revamped the secondary. I still think they need help up front. But what he's essentially done is he's taken the Giants' needs and really reduced it to just needing an edge rusher, essentially. Like, they feel good about their linebackers. Could they upgrade it a little bit? Sure. But they've got some players there. The kid from Georgia that got injured last year was playing really well before he got hurt. The guy from Green Bay came over last year, Blake Martinez, and essentially took a leadership role on and was like the alpha male of that defense in the middle. And so they feel good about linebacker. They feel good about the defensive line, even though they just lost Dalvin Tomlinson, who was a huge part of their defensive line. But you got Leonard Williams, and they got some other pieces. The kid they drafted from Clemson, they think is going to have a bigger role now. Like, they've got stuff, and now they just need edge rushers. So to me, he's narrowed down the focus. They don't need receiver help anymore. They don't need tight end help anymore. They don't need corner help or safety or any of these other positions. They need offensive line, and I think they're going to do that. And they need defensive end. And to me, to come out of this free agency period saying, man, they landed this guy, that guy, you got to feel really good. And getting John Ross on a 1-year deal that was really favorable. I just thought it was a really well done free agency period by the Giants, getting Kenny Golladay, getting Adoree Jackson, getting Kyle Rudolph, getting John Ross, getting Devontae Booker as a backup to Saquon Barkley. I thought it was an excellent free agency period. And when you couple that with the long-term deal that they reached with Leonard Williams to lower his cap number, and you also couple that with the moves made in the past, getting Jabril Peppers here, getting Logan Ryan, and then signing him to a long-term deal, getting this team to a position where they feel like we're ready and we're ready now. It's all on Daniel Jones essentially, and we'll see what they do in the draft. I think what the Giants did was tremendous. So I agree with you there. Also, when I look at Washington, I thought they were solid. I'm not blown away. I love the William Jackson signing. You know how I felt about Curtis Samuel. We'll see how that goes. But we needed a receiver, so I'm not mad at that. You know, I'm not a big fan of the Ryan Fitzpatrick move, but everyone seems to be elated by it. We'll see how that goes. But it's more than what Dallas and Philadelphia have done. But Dallas didn't need to do a lot. Again, I told you, I don't think that their roster was as bad as everybody thought, as much as it was they needed to be coached better, especially on the defensive side. So I think Dallas, just by re-signing Dak Prescott, getting him back is good for 3-4 wins by itself. And so even with all the defensive struggles last year, they still won 6 games. Okay? So getting Dak Prescott back, and I mean, you think about some of those games that they lost, you know, the 2 Washington games, they would have won at least one of those. You have to figure. Dak Prescott's never lost to Washington but once. And you got to assume that he would have won at least one, if not both of those Washington games. And then the Sunday night game where they start JMU and he's terrible, and they're in that game, and you could argue that there was a terrible call on a fumble that the Eagles scooped up that really gave the Eagles a comfortable win. If Dak Prescott's playing that game, they beat Philadelphia that time as well. So, like, I don't really think that it's even close that Dallas has the most talent in this division. Anybody that wants to say otherwise, have at it. But they didn't need to do a lot. Philadelphia is the one where you're scratching your head and you're kind of looking at them and saying, what the hell are you doing? But that's for them to figure out. I think your ranking is pretty spot on, and I don't think there are going to be any more really big moves per se. I thought there may have been one more, but the Eagles beat us to the punch. But I don't know if Washington was even interested. Again, all of these guys that I was interested in, other teams in the division seem to be more interested in them than we were. John Ross, Giants. Anthony Harris, the Eagles. And I told you I was really interested in a 1-year deal for a guy like Malik Hooker, who's going to be on a 1-year prove-it deal that's going to cost you $2.5 million or something like that. Well, he's on his way to Dallas, and if he wows them, they're meeting with 3 safeties. He's one of the 3. He could easily be signed by the Dallas Cowboys, and that's another guy that I would have loved to have seen in burgundy and gold. So I don't know if there are any real moves left. I think they're more intrigued by trying to re-sign all of their own. We're seeing a lot of tenders and guys that were here last year coming back. I don't know if they're really interested. The market is settling down now. So now that second and third wave of free agents are out there. I don't think we're done. I told you, I think we're done with any big names. You know, the biggest name still out there that may be linked to Washington is Ryan Kerrigan, but I just don't see him coming back because he's already made it known what he wants. And that's an opportunity to start. You're not getting that in Washington, so I just don't see them being any rekindling of that marriage. I think that's been dissolved now, and I don't see it coming back. But to your point, I think that the Giants had the best free agency period of any team. But again, they don't hand out trophies in March. We've had to find that out the hard way as Washington fans over the decades. They don't hand out trophies and awards in March. So we'll see how that goes.
LouieTeeNetwork.